I don't worry. I tell you, I'm a man who believed that I died 20 years ago. And I live like a man who is dead already. I have no fear whatsoever of anybody or anything.
Hey, what's up? It's your boy Al7. Today we got another very special episode of the Taking Action Group podcast. Now, usually it's me and Lisa. Actually, Lisa's still here with us, but something happened to her computer cable, and now, unfortunately, she's on her backup computer, which doesn't really have a camera. So, oh well, there we go. Yeah? And unfortunately, during this whole COVID crisis, you can't just go out and get wires. It took me 2 weeks to get a micro HDMI cable, sent to me because I couldn't get one at the normal stores. Everybody's closed. So that's crazy.
Right.
Yeah, but one thing you guys might notice is at the bottom of the screen, right? While we're messing around with this new technology, we're trying to up the level of the show for you guys over here. Then you can see that there's some kind of text being typed at the bottom. Yeah, I think it's a really cool development. And Lisa, why don't you tell us what that's all about?
Yeah, we're using Google Meet today, and they have a great function that allows closed captioning. So it basically helps to broaden our audience, and basically those with accessibility issues, meaning the deaf or hard of hearing, they now have a way to basically listen to our podcast, and just broadens our audience, and it's far more inclusive. It's great. So
Yeah.
we have a member of our team who has accessibility issues, disability issues, and he really widened our perspective about how we broadcast and his ability to access the information. He's a great guy, a great activist, and so we're really grateful to his presence, in our group, to be able to, let us know that these things are important, and he's absolutely right, they are.
Yeah, one of the insights that you had shared earlier when we did the earlier recording of this podcast was that the thing is that not everybody's actually born deaf. So the thing is that, he acquired he actually became hard of hearing fairly more recently. And for him, reading sign language is like reading a second language for him. It's very
Right.
It's very difficult for him to follow along. It's not what he's used to. So, sometimes people just think of a certain solution and they're like, oh, well, that's that's easy. But, different people come from different situations. So we're hoping this can be a definite step to making things more accessible. And we're really excited about that. Another thing that's cool about Google Meetings is that before we had our meetings on Zoom and he would try to attend. But the thing is that when multiple people would talk at the same time, it became very confusing as to who was saying what. But you can see right here from, and I'm sure there'll be points where Lisa might interject something. It'll automatically assign the words that she speaks to her. So that's actually very good for people who are using speech to text type, softwares. We're so excited about that because we can integrate our friend in a more, active way. That's really cool. Just so you know, also, I have another special project that I'm really hoping to get off the ground. Now, actually, you guys might have seen, but I've been doing some videos for something called Movement for a People's Party, MPP. And honestly, I'm really excited about this new group. They're hoping to really mobilize the Bernie Sanders supporters and really get them to help pass, some and get things done for the people. And I think that's wonderful. Now, one thing that I think right now is that the left really needs to coalesce. They need to consolidate and come together and get some actual changes. We can see that Biden, right? It's kind of disgusting. The thing is that, right, even though Bernie Sanders was leading in all the polls until they consolidated, right? If he made Bernie Sanders vice president, it would say, look, you guys are a powerful, active force of the party. We want to bring you guys in. But instead, all they're doing is they're not even putting Tulsi Gabbard in the Unity video, right? They're not hiring, they're putting AOC onto some kind of a task force, right? And we've seen what happens to task force and things like that before. They just try to ignore whatever they say, right? They have no teeth. They have no authority to pass any type of legislation or anything like that. They can make a suggestion, that's about it. And they're not going to follow that suggestion anyways. It's ridiculous. There's absolutely no reason why Bernie Sanders is not VP on this particular ticket. It's ridiculous. So, yeah. The thing is that...
But even if he was, it makes me wonder, yeah, Bernie's been capitulating so much. It's just... I just think that right now, that's the reason why I'm excited about MPP, because the Democrats, I'm sorry, they're just a train wreck. And, the way that they all capitulated and who they capitulated to.
Yeah.
It's it's one thing if you drop out of the race and you start swinging all your people toward Bernie, But dropping out of the race, I mean, Yang, of all people, dropping out of the race super early before he even gets to South Carolina and swinging all of his people to Biden, they got to him early. That's all I can
You know,
say.
one thing that
So,
might have really pushed them down that road as well, which I'm trying to address in this new consolidation plan that I have. And anybody could take it. It doesn't have to be my idea, right? But the thing is that I'm sure many people have the same idea, to tell you the truth. But the thing is that we got too focused on the personalities, like, oh, Bernie's going to save us, or, Yang's going to save us, right? The thing that we need to do is we need to consolidate and decide, like, there's certain things that we can get changed for the next election. So one of those things was the election integrity. So you looked at Yang, right? He spent a lot of time in Iowa, right? You look at Tulsi, spent a lot of time in New
New
Hampshire,
Hampshire.
right? And they made good bets, and they had, like, we could see that they had, like, a lot of pull in their communities, right? Like Elon Musk was giving what was he's a celebrity, right? And all these people were making these big endorsements, and then they still got only 1 to 3% in those states, which was and the exit polling showed that it looked really suspicious. Like, even according to the United Nations, right? The variance of this level demonstrates tampering in the elections. And you can see Trump is freaking out, saying, like, no mail-in ballots because the Democrats are going to tamper with the votes and things like that. We need election integrity really badly, like,
Yes, we do.
and without election integrity, like, it's a huge problem. So that's one of the things that we want to make sure that we get down first. And the whole Democrats trying to escape from things, saying, we're a private corporation, we don't have to, like, follow any of these particular laws or rules of the nation. It's time for the nation to pass laws that govern both parties that say you have to give people equal time. You cannot provide, like, you cannot deny if you factually get things wrong, like candidates' names over several times, or if you deny that they're even running in a race, then
John
you have
Yang,
it's ridiculous.
Tulsi Gabbard.
You have to pay. You have to pay huge, massive fines. You have to give equal amounts of time to the candidates. You can't have this kind of, like, arbitrary, picking and choosing of winners and losers. That's not what the media is there for. That's
Absolutely.
it's a complete violation. So we want to. Our first thing is we want the left to coalesce and say, here's a set of election integrity rules that we all agree on. It doesn't matter, like, whether you're Our Revolution or MPP, or whether you're Bernie, or whether you're Warren, or whether you're any. It doesn't matter, right? Even if you're a Biden supporter, if you're for election integrity reform, that's something the left can get around and pass, and we can get it done. The second thing that I'd like to see addressed is the UBI, right? We can see that the effect of the wealth income distribution is just all effed up. The top 1% makes, like, over 90% of the wealth of this nation. We should actually mandate that these corporate, right? There's nothing wrong with some people have money. Some people get it by luck. Some people got it by they're really just
Inheritance.
they have some cool ideas. So, or they inherit it. I have no problem with that. But, right, why are we still providing these companies tax breaks and bailouts, right? We should put a moratorium on all future and ongoing, right, money that's given to these top 1%ers or these corporations, right, until the top 1% only owns, let's say, half, 40% of American wealth. The top 1 people out of 100 own 40% of American wealth. Not that that's even necessarily acceptable, but we cut it down by half, and there's no more money. Why are we still, like, funding the monies? You said something really that I liked earlier. You said it's socialism, like, and profitability. Well, like, how did you define that again? I love the way you said that.
It's privatizing the profits and socializing the losses. Why aren't we socializing the profits? If we're basically giving corporations enough money to basically buy them out, why aren't we even at least having shares? So that means when the corporations turn around and start turning a profit, why aren't we getting dividends from that? And why aren't we using those dividends to in turn give that money back to the people in the form of a UBI? That's basically what happens in Alaska. Why are we saying that we're going to put more taxes on the people when basically we've been just shoveling money to all these corporations when we should be shareholders? Yeah. Why aren't the people the shareholders? Why aren't we getting dividends in the form of UBI the way supposedly people keep using the example of Alaska? That's what we should be doing. Just giving away money and expecting them to just, to have them just take it and then turn around and kick the public in the teeth or pay so low that their employees are basically, have to get public services in order to, food stamps and all
Yeah.
kinds of, social services. It's ridiculous. Again, it's privatizing the profits, socializing the losses. That's got to stop.
Yeah,
If
that's
we're
what,
giving
yeah.
them money, we should have an ownership interest.
Yeah. So right now what I'm doing is I'm trying to get like some members of Taking Action Group. We're trying to also like expand out to other content providers. We're talking to some people from all the different groups like MPP. There's another group called Unite the Left. There's a group called, well, we have Our Revolution. Jerry will be making some appearances on our show, which is super exciting. I got some other content like Big Talk, Little Talk, and New Progressive Voice. And I'm also inviting some of the other bigger channels. I don't know if they might even do something independently. We don't know. I'd love for them to be a part of this, though. If we can consolidate, we can win. And it's time for us to start winning. I'm so sick of losing. So, yeah,
Yep.
I'm super excited about that. We'll see where that goes. Stay tuned. And, yeah, that's what I have to say about that. Now, that actually provides, let me just segue into our next bit over here. Now, Lisa's been working on some special things in her community. And why don't you tell us a little bit about that, what's been going on this last week?
Uh, just wanted to talk about, making communities more anti-fragile. Um, I just really come to the conclusion these last, couple of months that we're not going to be able to rely on the federal government.
Yeah.
And it's not acceptable just to let our communities fall apart and decay. What we need to do is start developing redundant systems that don't rely on just-in-time deliveries. I mean, perfect example is the cord, for my computer. Having certain redundant. So if we put together some kind of cooperative where everybody has extra cables and stuff, so someone who may have an old MacBook or whatever and has that cable, that we can kind of do a sort of sharing or a sort of community where we have, old tech parts or old this or old that. I belong to a cooperative that does a food swap once a month. And so we all have, I live in Los Angeles, so a lot of people have backyard fruit, whether it be like an orange tree, a lemon tree. People are growing herbs, vegetables, all kinds of things in a little garden. Or sometimes people bake bread. Sometimes people make little desserts, cookies. And we'll all get together once a month at someone's house. And we bring everything that we've made or picked off our trees, and we pass around. We go around once, twice, 3 times, and take as much as we want. And a lot of people leave with like huge, basically shopping bags full of free produce. And so what we've done this time, since we can't convene in one place at someone's house, is that we've made it basically like an adult trick or treat. We made sort of so everybody puts out their food or their produce or whatever in boxes out in front with a little label on it or something, and we have a list of houses that we can go to and what they have at each place, and we drive around picking up food from each place. And so we did it last weekend. We had bags and bags of fruit stuff with tomatoes and baby artichokes and grapefruit and oranges and lemons and limes. Someone made scones. Someone made sourdough bread. I made cookies.
Hey, wait, quick question. So
Herbs.
the thing is, right, like if someone wants to do this on their own, right, like is there a website where they can like help like organize their community, or will they just like put together, like I heard of something called Nextdoor, or maybe they can make their own Facebook group? Like how are you guys organizing this whole type of situation here?
Well, interestingly enough, this was started by someone who was put out of work back in 2008. So the first time this all happened, she put something together. People were very responsive. She put together a Facebook page, and that's how we basically communicate between that and our email list. But what I would like to do, and probably what I'm going to do, is and reach out to different areas, is to get people to kind of branch out and start their own groups within their own neighborhoods. We have an area in kind of northeast Los Angeles that we do, but it's really a neighborhood sort of community thing. So whereas we welcome people from other places to come in, we need to, it's the understanding that it's in our neighborhood. So you're going to have to either drop off your foods at somebody's house and whoever allows you to, and then we'll go around and do something. But I'm really excited to be able to just tell people our construct, and then just try to motivate them to start something in their own neighborhoods, and just as a way to imagine if the stores had to close, imagine if you had to stay inside, imagine all types of things. Imagine if just somehow the delivery trucks couldn't get to us, or there's a lot of basically interruptions in the just-in-time delivery system.
If there's one
We
thing
have
that, yeah,
in
there's
our
one,
communities, our own things, and the most important thing, which is food.
I really like the way that you described it earlier when you said like anti-fragile, because really, if you
Yes,
think about it, right, it's really decentralized cooperative businesses are amazingly
absolutely.
robust. Because the thing is that if you think about it, a lot of these small businesses now are going to have hiked up, insurance premiums for unemployment. They're all going to
Yep.
have to pay more. And,
Yep.
honestly, if we look at like, I had an interview with a guy from Detroit where he talked about like, how the whole entire systems fell apart. Flint, Michigan,
Hmm.
we can see the government fails us over and over and over again. But the
Yes.
thing is that, so a lot of these
Flint is a
businesses, yeah,
perfect example.
exactly. So all these business, and the federal government isn't going to bail out these state governments, so they're going to be bankrupt. They're not going to pay their pensions. They're also going to like have like the water. They're not going to take care of the water infrastructure. It's going to be a big mess.
Right.
So the
Yes.
thing is that when all these little businesses implode and they fall apart, right? All that's going to be left is the big box or these cooperative like groups that are very hard to centralize and take out. If you have like a small store, you can like you can pressure their landlord, or you can like drive up their rent, or you can do other things. But if you have the movement of people from the ground, you know what I mean? Like those are your customers. What are you gonna do? You're gonna destroy your whole entire customer base. You can't do that. So this is
Right.
very, very robust, and I love it. I think I hope a lot of you guys start this in your own communities. I hope that people in my neighborhood can get this started right away.
Yeah, I was just talking to one of the people who I ran into her. She was doing some shopping at the farmer's market, but normally she's a vendor at the farmer's market. And I said to her, "Hey, when are you coming back? We miss you." And she said, "Well, I had my license for food preparation. And so, because they're not allowing the food prep, and because her license was for that, she can't come in and into the farmer's market." And so, what was she doing? She was making tinctures and basically, ginger tinctures and turmeric tinctures, stuff for kind of wellness, for colds and for flu kind of things. And so, here's someone whose services were so needed, and she can't, because of the particular bent of her license for the farmers market, she can't come in again. And we were discussing something that was happening in the neighborhood where she's in South LA, because she's a vendor here in this market, but she's actually lives in the South LA kind of Inglewood, Ladera Heights area. And what they had done is, this particular organization, CLA, has several farmers markets they're doing. So what was the farmers market they closed? The one in South LA, the one in the food desert. And so an organization, I know it's ridiculous. And
Wait.
so
When you
the
say the
one
word food desert, what do you mean food desert? A lot of people don't actually
uh,
know that term.
an urban food desert is basically an area of town that doesn't have a grocery store or a place where you have basically fresh produce. And so it will be an area that's mostly populated by liquor stores and the type of foods that you can get in a liquor store. So chips and snacks and
Yeah.
just sodas and things of that sort. So basically, the farmers market down there was addressing all the food shortages, and it's a robust market too. So one of the groups I belong to, which is Color of Change, they were like really, really advocating and politicking, and basically like you know they went crazy and basically forced them to reopen that market. And so they got the market reopened, which is really wonderful. But they had to push hard. and it's absolutely ridiculous that of all communities, you pick that one to close, which is,
Actually, I heard
and
that
they run like 5 farmers markets.
like the way they shut down New York, I heard that LA was also shut down to an extent. So they're
Yes, they
allowing
did.
they're
In
allowing
the
these open
beginning
air
weeks,
markets to happen.
there was no farmers market for a couple of weeks, and in some areas, the farmers markets are still closed.
Okay. And
So,
also for people that want to set up like these types of agencies like the one that you just talked about, right? As in terms of like, setting up like a cooperative type of like food exchange type thing. Um, Maybe I don't know if people can contact you or if they can join that Facebook group, but are there any types of if people don't know how to get started, how can we help them?
well, here's the interesting thing. I mean, it's no money. We call ourselves a cooperative. We agree on things that we're going to do, the systems, the way that we do things. It's changed over time depending on people's time and their wanting to do input. But it runs on no money. We just have a Facebook group and we have an email list, and it's people's time to put things together, and we get free food out of it. And so it's wonderful. People exchange seeds, plants, all kinds of things.
Yeah, that
So
sounds actually that makes a lot of sense. So
so again, it's from putting together a public bank that works in your community to putting together systems like this. These sort of redundant systems is what makes a society and a community more robust, and it's very important for people to put time and energy into them and to continue to support them, because you never know, I mean, when these things will happen. I mean, 2.5 months ago, did you honestly believe we would be where we were at right now? Even when we first closed down, did you honestly believe that it was going to last this long? I mean, we're still closed down. Some parts of the state are not, but I'm in Los Angeles, so we're still on lockdown. They just opened the parks and stuff, and so we were driving through, Griffith Park, and there was all kinds of people out, but there's still a bunch of things shut down. So you drive down the main strip, Sunset Boulevard, Hollywood Boulevard, all the shops were just basically
I've
closed.
basically
So
almost completely lost faith in all of our institutions, government, education, medical system. I have no faith in any of them. It's just a huge mess.
And so it's basically the reason why, we need to have systems where we exchange information, where we help with basic health systems, that we understand and we learn,
Yeah.
on our own, how to increase our immune systems, how to keep each other healthy, mentally, emotionally, physically.
Just so you know,
Um,
yeah, you can see her name is Permaculture Mom. She actually will be starting a channel maybe soon that has to do with
yes,
self-sustainability, like growing your
right.
own crops, things like that. I'm into that a little bit myself too. I think it's really
Yes.
cool, and we'll definitely stay updated. That's something that's going to be coming out of this whole situation. So, a
Yes,
lot
in
of it
fact,
is
we're
cool.
starting a micro. Los Angeles allows you to start what's called a micro farm, and so they'll send somebody out, see the stuff that you're growing. They make basically a note of all the different things that you have, so they can make sure that you grow it there on your place, and then you can sell at farmers markets. You can sell to restaurants.
Yeah.
You can start a CSA, which is a community sustainable agriculture, and so people can buy boxes of produce from your farm. And yeah, so it's something that's really great that we have here in Los Angeles. And I really urge other communities to urge their city councils and their county supervisors to allow them to do. One of the things that I want to push in Los Angeles is for us to have small livestock. So it's
Yeah.
a it's a way, just to, like I said, to remain anti-fragile, to basically uh, to do something about any sort of disruptions in food supply, food delivery. I
Okay.
mean,
Yeah. So
let
we're
me
gonna
tell you
have a
something.
bunch
When
of
this
stuff
all
coming out soon.
started, I mean, the grocery stores have food on the shelves now. But when this all started, you'd go into the store and there were literally empty shelves
Yeah.
down to the wire.
And I think it's going to be actually like a lot of like companies and stuff that might be able to like put some food out now. But the thing is that like like they said, like the meat shortages and the supply chain has been disrupted. So there's going to be some on the tail end, like maybe 2-3 months from now, where I think we're definitely going to be facing some other issues from this. It's this is not over yet. Yeah. So But thanks for sharing for that. That was really super cool, and I'm glad to hear that there's still some positives going on during this time of crisis right here. These stories are really, show us that we have a lot more power to get things done, and that's really awesome.
Yeah, and our group is called the Taking Action Group, and these are the actions that you can take in your community. All is
Absolutely.
not lost. You
Yeah.
are not a slave to or beholden to the systems that are in place. You can create your own systems,
Yeah.
and it's not that hard. And have fun and create community and create basically a stronger society where you live locally,
Yeah.
and better food.
And
Better, fresher food, riper food.
absolutely. And what's really cool, actually, the fact that you're from LA, I'm from New York City, right? We have this kind of like coast to coast thing going on. And actually, our revolution in LA, the guy Jerry, who's made some appearances on Jimmy Dore and other shows like that, right? He's actually coming to our on Wednesday. I think we have an exclusive interview, and then on Thursday is going to be the national Movement for People's Party meeting. So I'm trying to bring in some other content creators to be a part of it, to help me push this, to try to, from not just the content creators such as Big Talk, Little Talk, and New Progressive Voice, who I've invited, also the progressive martial artists, but I'm also inviting people from Yang Gang and people from Our Revolution. Like here, I think there's someone here from New York or New Jersey squad. I'm really hoping that they show up. I invited them today. We'll see if they get back to us. We also have a member who's been a member of the Green Party, not myself, but who's been an organized member of the Green Party for quite some time, and we'll have a lot of different perspectives on, where the left goes. So that'll be a very interesting show on Wednesday night. Thursday night, we're going to also have a post show. We're going to have a panel discussion on a whole bunch of people that are going to attend the MPP meeting. So a lot to look forward to.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Really looking forward to it.
Yeah. And if anybody out there has what type of cable do you need right here? Yeah. Please put it in the comments below so we can get Lisa. Right. We definitely want to see her on the. She's got a nice little crew out there. And hopefully one of them could supply a Mac cable at least for the night or something. You know what I mean? That'd be real cool.
All right.
A lot of them watch the show. Yeah. So yeah. So definitely looking forward to that. Anything else you want to add to it before it's time to go?
No, I think we're good. We're also going to be on a talk with Jerry, and we're going to be moving our time up from 9 a.m. Our usual meet time on Sunday to 11 a.m. to accommodate Jerry's schedule. And we're going to be sending out a newsletter to our crew and making sure people get to listen to him, what they say MPP is about, what he says MPP is about, and just get questions from our group and just to see, have him be vetted a little bit.
And just so you know, I have significant amounts of ground experience, right? Also, Lisa has she's been working for years on the ground as an organizer, campaigner, not just for candidates, but for different issues, social issues as well. So the thing is that we bring a lot of knowledge into the game, and the thing is that by sitting in the MPP meeting, we recognize these people as very experienced, high-quality people. So even if you're not necessarily believing in third parties or whatever, which has valid reasons to it, it's definitely worth checking out just to understand their organizational hierarchy and structure so you can understand it, because they're very effective. So, why wouldn't you just learn from that particular tool that's out there? There's very few opportunities to learn these types of skills. So this is a very rare opportunity to get in on the ground level and see how these things operate and how these things are formed.
Yeah, absolutely. We need to start basically putting these systems together because, from a lot of things that people are saying out west, we're looking probably at a lot of strikes. And I have to say, when I say strikes, I mean people striking, workers striking. And I find that worrisome because I think that it's going to very much affect people's quality of life. We're going to see a lot of supply disruptions. And I think it's very important for us to start thinking about redundant systems, alternative systems, and preparing for these things, because we may have a lot of shortages in our future for reasons other than just supply problems or delivery problems. We may have rolling strikes, and we need to be a lot more, and I'll use the word again, anti-fragile.
One thing that actually just I've been a little bit worried about you, because I had heard, like, like I told you, like, back, like, when this kind of, like, maybe like a couple weeks ago, that, like, the violent crimes and stuff, like, we saw more of that kind of thing going on here in New York City. But then recently, like, you told me that things were cool in LA, like only Grand Theft Auto went up, but all the other crimes went down. But then I've been watching the news, and lately it looks like there's been a little bit more violent stuff going on in LA. Is everything all right with you, or have you heard about that, or is everything still cool?
A little bit more. They said that they've been getting a lot of, even though they say the numbers are down, they've been getting a lot more calls for domestic violence.
Yeah.
But it seems to me that things are kind of chilling out a little bit. I mean, interestingly enough, like the one thing that's been going up or staying the same is car accidents. And it's funny because there's literally a quarter of the people on the road, but the people who are on the road are driving like maniacs. I don't even know why.
They can finally move. There's
exactly.
no
Yeah. They're
like, oh my God, like we're not sitting in 2 hours in traffic for no reason.
Exactly. But I can tell you that, for the most part, things are quiet. And right now, you're right. There's a slight uptick in some maybe like break-ins or burglaries or whatever, petty theft. But honestly, it's a lot lower than it was when everybody was moving around.
And when people run out of their money, you know what I mean? Like, it's ready to, like, it's go time, man. It's not good. Not go time in a good way. And, people, like, they can't get they're going to run out of money for their drugs, and they're going to have withdrawal, and they're going to be cranky, and you're going to have, like, a bunch of, like, H-heads, like, running around trying to keep their fixes going. I really, I'm quite concerned about, the security aspects of what's going on here.
I'm less concerned about the security aspects. I feel that things are a lot, that people are reaching out, and there still are basically, without a doubt, holes in the system. But I mean, I can see things popping off in New York from things that I've heard and different stuff. But out here, out west, it's actually a lot calmer.
Okay, I'm glad. I'm glad for that.
But we're not congregating. I mean, even though the parks are open and people are still doing stuff, but there's no concerts, there's no get-togethers, there's no clubbing, and there's no bars, so there's no drinking, there's no, and a lot of that stuff, from bars, nightclubs and stuff like that, stuff happens. Stuff happens, when people, get a little tight. So,
yeah.
So because those things aren't, on the regular anymore, you're not seeing it anymore. Saturday nights are quiet.
That makes sense. Yeah, a lot of BS goes down at those types of events. Yeah, so, yeah. All right, that makes sense. So I'm glad that you're okay, because I was like a little bit worried because I heard about like little extra things like ticking up in LA. So I'm always watching. To see what's going on.
Yeah, actually there have been quite a few car break-ins before this happened, and then after we were all on lockdown, you would think that, oh well, people aren't really looking out for their cars. There's not really, like, no, all those car thefts went way down.
And if you're from other parts of the country, we definitely want to hear from you. So don't be hesitant to send us an email, put something down in the comments below, and we'd like to hear from other people from different parts of the country, because honestly, the mainstream media will not necessarily cover the reality of the situation, what's going on the streets. So we'd love to hear from you. Please get at us, right? It doesn't matter if you're from Hawaii, it doesn't matter if you're from Montana, Kentucky, Kansas, anywhere. You know what I mean? Hit us up. Florida,
Miami.
Let
us know what's going on.
Philadelphia.
Ohio. Let us know what's going on in the streets, and how you all are coping, what you're doing for work, what you're doing with your days. Very interesting. And what you're doing, kind of what people are doing in their communities to try to make their communities anti-fragile.
Yeah.
Looking for alternatives, definitely, whether it be politically or otherwise.
All right, so thank you so much. I hope you guys enjoyed this episode. And yeah, God bless. I'll see you guys on the next one. All right, see you.
Bye.
It's a dark day in our nation when high-level authorities will seek to use every method to silence dissent. The truth must be told.
And if you want the truth, you need to check out independent media producers just like myself, DJ L7. You should subscribe and hit the bell icon to get notifications when I release a new video.
Truth of these
we
words
are on all
is
the
beyond
major
doubt.
platforms. That includes Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and of course YouTube. Unfortunately, we have definitely seen that these mainstream outlets will cave to corporate interests, so we encourage you to join our independently moderated communities of Reddit and Discord. We also encourage you to subscribe to us on BitChute Daily Motion so you can see the content that YouTube doesn't want us to let you see. Hey, now it's time for the most important part of the video. That's right. It's time for us to tell you about the Taking Action Group. Do you need an activist? Or maybe there's no activists around willing to help you with your cause and you need to learn to become an activist. That's exactly why we're here. Every week we get up with people from across the nation, in fact even sometimes internationally, and we develop strategies and a game plan to address the issues that are affecting all of us. Every week myself from New York City and of course my co-host Lisa from Los Angeles provide a coast-to-coast perspective on what's going on in the country. If you want to donate to help out with expenses, travel, equipment, stuff like that, then I definitely appreciate it, and you can hit us off at Venmo or PayPal. Thanks a lot. Hey, by the way, we also have a merch store, so check it out. Oh my goodness, it seems like you've reached the end of the video, so make sure you check out some of our other videos. Make sure you subscribe. This is your last chance to do so thanks a lot. And looking forward to seeing you on the next one. Hope you guys enjoyed. Please comment below if you have any questions or issues you'd like me to address. And if you're an activist, the time to make things happen is now.